You're a student of ballet. You're excited. You love it. You love connecting with your fellow ballet students. You love connecting with your ballet teacher. Or maybe you're a parent of a ballet student who has finally connected with their true passion for the art. And suddenly the pandemic hits and they have to work from home. What do? Well, South Shore Ballet Theatre has come up with an approach to stay connected with their ballet students, working remotely. Let's listen to what they have to say. So let's first start with you, Martha Van.
So my name is Martha Van McKeon. I'm the artistic director and founder of South Shore Ballet Theatre. I founded the school in 2008 when I thought that there was a significant need for a pre-professional ballet school on the South Shore after Boston Ballet School Norwell closed. So it was not something I had planned on doing right then, but it was the opportunity presented itself and it felt like a real need for the community. So everything sort of fell into place and I just did it. You know, for me, a lot of this is about, doing what I do, what I love and what I'm passionate about, but also sharing that passion with the community. And I love getting in the studio and being with the students. And, when the opportunity arose to start my own school, it just seemed like a natural transition. So there we have it. We were in Hanover for 11 years, moved this past year to Hingham to be more centrally located to really meet the needs of the South Shore community. And now we are living through a pandemic. So it's an interesting world.
Indeed it is. It certainly has challenged many of us, if not all of us, to sort of change the way we interact with each other and how we look outward, so to speak. And with that in mind, let's now shift over to Fawn. Fawn Cronin, tell us about yourself.
I have two children with SSBT. We did start initially in 2016 with my youngest daughter, but most recently my son, Logan, has been a part of the program and really took to it quite quickly. I do come from a dance background myself, family business of a dance school as well as a ballet company. So, like Martha Van, I had a passion for it starting at that age of 2.5, 3. And kept dancing all the way through to professionally here and there, but more teaching and guiding my children now with the help of SSBT. But I can say the biggest thing I've appreciated so far from SSBT is their ability to accept all levels of experience. My daughter came in very young at 3, took a year off and then came back when she was emotionally ready. But my son, he didn't start until he was 10. And he was doing this sort of coming along with me and sitting and reading or playing video games for a couple of years. And when it came time for him, it was his idea. And he stood up and he said, "Hey, do you think they have a boys class?" And I said, "I think so. Let's go check." And he hadn't a day of dance in his history of movement. He's a lacrosse player. So that being said, it was within 6 weeks of his first class that he was invited to be a part of the spring gala, and he performed by, I believe it was the 10th week of class. So from there, it was a hook, line, and sinker for him, and he's continued on, done the Nutcracker, and is looking forward to another season.
Thank you. Marissa.
Hello, so my name is Marissa Roman, and I'm a teacher, faculty member at SSBT, and I, like everyone else so far, started dancing when I was 3 here on the South Shore in Hingham at Children's Ballet Workshop, which was run by a wonderful lady named Nan Keating. She became the principal of the Norwell studio of Boston Ballet, I want to say in like 1992, 6? I was going to say 5 or 6. I think it was 5 because I did 6 was my first Nutcracker. But anyway, so I moved with her to Boston Ballet in the 90s and was dancing ever since. And then went to the University of Hartford Hart School and got my degree in ballet pedagogy. So when I was looking for jobs, I was looking into teaching. And I actually reached out to Nan Keating to see whether she had any connections or needed somebody at her school, which at the time was in Florida. And she gave me Martha Van McKeon's number because she had just started SSBT the year before. So I drove back here to Massachusetts on the South Shore and had an interview with Martha Van, and got to join SSBT as a teacher in its second year. So I joined in 2009, and I've been teaching with them ever since.
Thank you. Michelle.
I'm Michelle Kelly. My daughter is Clara. I'm a parent of SSBT. Clara has been dancing ballet since she was 2. She came to me at 2 years old and begged to dance ballet and started at just a local school, but then 2 years later at the age of 4 said, "Where's the real ballet?" So I did a little search and found South Shore Ballet Theatre and took her there for a tour, and she walked around the studios and said, "This is it, this is my place." And she's been dancing there for 7 years, and she absolutely loves it. It's her second home, and she's been getting wonderful lessons from Martha Van and Marissa for 7 years. She's very happy there. We're both very happy there.
Thank you. And last but not least, Megan.
Hi, my name is Megan Keller. I'm a student at SSBT, and like everybody else, I started dancing when I was 3. My grandmother brought me to my first ballet class. That's what in my ballet studio that was local in my town, and immediately I just loved being able to not think about anything that was going on, just being able to dance and have fun. And then I believe in 2012, I changed studios to South Shore Ballet Theatre, and I knew that it was so much better than what I had been previously doing before. It was just, the training was so much more elevated than my other studio, and I've been dancing there for 8 years.
Martha Van, you and I, we spoke earlier about what the impact of this COVID-19 pandemic has had on SSBT.
The change really did happen quite quickly. I mean, we were joking about virtual classes the week before we actually all had to close, because there was a bit of a joke going on. Well, maybe you can offer some virtual classes, and we were like, ha ha ha. And then March 13th showed up and the schools closed, and we said, oh, we might really have to do that. And by the time Monday rolled around, we actually had to do that. And so I had to sort of figure out, it's one of those Apollo 13 moments where, you don't make things worse by guessing, and failure is not an option, and all of that. And I was like, I'm not going to close. I'm just not. So what am I going to do? So I spent a few days getting to know technology and that I'd never touched before, and learning about a whole lot about a business that I really had not done. I mean, I have a business degree from college. I thought that was enough. I've taught forever. I thought that was enough. And really I had to, just jump right into areas of technology that I had no idea how to do, and how was I going to change that for my kids. Ballet is very much a hands-on interaction kind of a thing. So a virtual class has never been something that a ballet teacher ever wanted to do, but there was no choice. So we just said, you know what, this is what we're doing. And we put up a schedule the very next week just to see how people would respond. And we were still trying to work through technology problems. Every single student tuned in. And what we figured out was that while it wasn't ideal, it kept these kids doing something that they love. It kept a sense of normalcy in their life during a time when they were feeling a little panicked. And it made them stay focused. So for an hour and a half, or however long their class was, they were focused on this. They were breathing. They were, getting, all the physical work that they needed. And then we moved on. And every week we've gotten a little better at it. We fix something kind of every week. And the other part of it is every week we figured out that other people aren't necessarily as fortunate as we have been to make this transition. So we have begun to offer free drop-in classes for anyone in the community, anywhere. First one's free. You can do drop-in classes after that for just $20 or whatever donation you want to make. We put together a series of videos for our adult students. So we put that out so that they actually have a curriculum going. We put together a series of stretching and strengthening videos so the whole family can get together and do this, because we're all stuck at home. And so we've really tried to reach out to every aspect of our school, knowing that they all have family members and what can we do for them as well.
Fawn, do you want to add to that?
I think that with SSBT, I know that my family will continue with them for as long as they offer programming. I mean, at this point, having it be so amenable to everyone, as well as school schedules, virtual school schedules that were up in the air, that sometimes were structured more by the parent than the actual school. The structure of SSBT allowed me to sort of build around that versus having to build around a ramshackle day. Moving forward in the future, I think Martha Van's completely right that there will still be a virtual space for these classes, in part because I think on a comfort level, each family has different children. They have different immunocompromised situations. And in fact, they may have just different fear levels. But what I do find is that if fear is the factor, it's always taken into consideration, and that there's a flexibility that will allow for us to keep moving forward, whether it's virtually or wearing masks in the space, or even just spreading out our time a little bit differently so that we can keep the education going and also keep the arts going, because they are suffering. I'm not in the arts myself with my work, but I am in school for the arts and for music. And I can say that it's a luxury that I think a lot of people have taken for granted in many ways. Perhaps more on the lay side maybe than us performers, because we certainly don't. We wake up for this every day, and my children do as well. So in supporting that, I will continue to support SSBTs just so we can keep making it available and have that variance of education still there.
What adjustments, what changes have you had to make in this new one-on-one, individualized, remote learning approach?
So it's really interesting because we have a curriculum and we get to keep the curriculum the same. This age group learns this age group learns at this speed. We have our varied classes, recreational and intensive learners who are kids that have decided they want to do ballet multiple days a week and that this is the thing that they love. And then we have the kids that come in once or twice a week, which mix in with, they have other activities. So our curriculum with all these classes gets to stay the same, but especially for me, I teach a lot of the younger kids, and it's really important, I find, as a teacher, to be able to get in there in the room with them and not only use the music or your language, but to physically be in the room, to be able to show them how to do things and help them and mold their bodies to do them and feel the difference between right and wrong. And so in this virtual setting, and I watch them do it and I do it with them again so that they have somebody to copy, or they can watch other students on the screen as well, because sometimes we have older students take the class and kind of act as somebody who they can follow when I'm watching, which is very helpful. But it's funny because you see them sometimes, they're holding onto their chair or their bar or whatever they have readily available in the house for their ballet setup, and they might be facing this way, but then they're trying to watch and they're turning their bodies and they're turning their heads, and I've had to try to expand my vocabulary in a descriptive way to get their bodies to do things that normally I might be able to walk over to them and say, oh, try it like this, or do you feel now you're square, or do you feel the difference between when you have your arm here versus here? So it's interesting just trying to get those children that are more tactile learners to find their visual learning skills. But it's just like, I think many teachers and artists, it's something that helps us grow in our profession and our art. So it's almost become more rewarding when you see those light bulb moments in the kids.
You talked about working with the younger students. What is that age group?
So SSBT has a young dancers program that starts at 5, sometimes even 4.5. So we have one class a week with them virtually, which we have another teacher, Miss Lacey, who teaches that class, which is a creative movement, pre-ballet, kind of getting them moving their bodies and understanding their physicality before we give them a more rigid, structured ballet class, in a sense. But the younger kids that I'm teaching range from about 6 to 8. So they've had ballet for a few years and they're familiar with the vocabulary, but they're trying to find their technique and their muscle memory.
Now, Martha Van, you sent me some photos that had images of students who similarly have their beams set up at home. Is this something that's required, a recommended set of resources that each student should have?
Well, what happens is that, you know, as Marissa said, as you go along, you figure out a chair is a really hard thing to use. I mean, growing up, most people that I knew did not have a ballet bar in their house. But a lot of kids now, because there's a lot of exercise going on in their family anyway, are finding out that they, you know, maybe the mom is taking a bar class and the kid is taking a ballet class. So they're starting to find these things and set them up themselves. You don't have to, though. And like I said, when I grew up, we didn't. I mean, you know, you use doorways and chairs and whatever else you could find. And, you know, they work really well. We all turned out just fine.
Did you have a performance schedule planned
Yes.
before the pandemic? And
Yes, we did.
what does that now mean?
Martha Van Fashion, you know, I'm not dead till I'm dead, right? So I'm just going to keep going and doing what I do. You know, so for me, you know, I've already told these kids, I'm like, make sure you're working, make sure you're doing this, because, you know, this quarantine will end. And at some point, you know, you're going to be back in business and, you know, we will perform. You know, ultimately, artists want to perform. And so, you know, even if I have to, I don't know that we will be able to keep our June 13th date at Thayer Academy. I think they're feeling a little bit gun shy about having all of us show up for a performance that I'm not sure we could actually pull it all together. We were going to do the full-length ballet of Coppelia, which is a really long ballet, but I'm pretty certain that's not going to be possible. But, you know, I never give up. You know, it's one of those things. And so if I have to go and get Wood and Kiwi to put a stage in the parking lot so we can all sit 6 feet apart and watch a show, then you know what? Then that's what we'll do. In my mind, you know, I think you just have to think out of the box when it comes to this kind of stuff. You have to kind of say, okay, this is what we normally do, and I would prefer to do what we normally do. But the reality is it's not normal, and it's not gonna be normal for a while. So how do we work the problem? And in my mind, this might be the way that we work the problem. So, you know, I've already got them thinking creatively just at each different level to try and draw some pictures of costumes, take pictures with their dogs, think about what it's like to do a photo shoot so that they can think a lot about, you know, how do I look at the camera? How do I look at the audience? That kind of a thing. And then the older kids, I've got them making combinations that we build on each week. So even though, you know, we're not really performing, we're starting to work through that process anyway. And even my pre-pros, we're starting to work on a way to do some rehearsal for a piece in Coppelia, so that we do that sort of virtually as well, so that at least intellectually you understand the choreography, you understand the music. So, you know, we continue to just kind of move and push the boundaries a little bit and see what we can do. I mean, the reality is that it's really the arts that's gotten everybody through all of this. You know, for every time you turn on your TV or your phone or whatever, you're watching an artist perform, you're listening to music perform. And the dancing is not anything other than, you know, one of that group part, a very significant part of that group. And so we just are, you know, we've been around for 500 years, we're going to keep going. So that's sort of where my plan is right now. Our costumes that were being made are still in Romania, I believe. So I don't know when they're coming back. It could be interesting. But you know, but we have some things that we can use and make do. And you know, we're New Englanders. That's what we do, right? We reuse and reuse and reuse until we can't, then we give it away and try again. So this is sort of my plan. Is just to keep pushing the boundaries and see how we can make this all work for everybody.
Final word as we wrap up. And let's start with the parents. Michelle and Fawn, who wants to go first?
Really just the fact that they have continued, the classes have been so wonderful in my daughter's life, for her to, like I said, see her friends, see her teachers, have this sense of normalcy, stay active, have something to look forward to, something fun to do. And also, I really do fear that after all these years of training, if she was not doing this every day, 4 days a week, she would lose her skills and her technique. And she has not, that's not going to happen, because they have been so good about continuing. And like they said, every day my daughter Clara finds a new way to, whether she's moving around her own personal studio, or we get a bar, or we went and got a piece of Marley. Every day we're figuring out how to adjust to this new home quarantine and being able to do ballet at home. And it's just getting better and better every day. I mean, I'm just very impressed with how they've continued these classes. We're just so grateful for it.
Fawn?
Yes.
Words, final comments?
I do. You know, one thing I didn't mention earlier that I really wanted to mention was that not only are the classes offering the structure, but the students, my son and my daughter, are both required to wear their uniforms. They get up in the day, they dress. And there are days we do not dress. We wear pajamas and say those are free days, as in April vacation week for this week. But we have April vacation week for school, not from ballet today. So they will still be getting up, getting dressed. My daughter still has to put her hair in a bun. And my son still has to slick his hair back, not letting it hang in his face because it is growing very quickly. I have to say, I think that is incredibly important. It's incredibly important because every day we as parents still have to suit up and show up, whether we're working remotely at home or teaching for them. And leading by example is really important. SSBT's done that. So as my final thought for it, thank you, Martha Van, for doing that. Thank you, Marissa, for teaching, and all the other teachers too, and for offering that discipline.
Marissa, final thoughts?
I was gonna, kind of say something similar to what, well, everybody has said a little bit, but I think just being artists and dancers, like, this is really ingrained in our bodies. Our body is our tool to do our art with, and to get out, to be able to have an outlet to move and to do what we love every day just keeps us feeling sane. So this is also almost therapy for us to be able to, you know, not think about the troubles of the world, but to be able to get together and do absolutely what we love. And it's nice too. I mean, just being a teacher, I get to make sure that I'm growing my own skill set by doing something in a different way. I'm getting to move my body, because I think we all know that as dancers, you just don't feel like yourself if you're not dancing or teaching or creating something. So maybe our ability to create a ballet like Coppelia that we were planning on creating has changed drastically. But I think one thing about artists is that, okay, you can't do it the way that you normally do it, or you don't have the funds, or you don't have the space. You create a new way to do what you love.
Megan, final thoughts?
I just want to say that I am so thankful for being able to have this available, because without dance, my life is very boring and sad, but I'm so thankful to all my teachers, Miss McKeon, Miss Marissa, all my other teachers that I have during the week. It's awesome to keep that sense of normalcy and just being able to dance and have fun for a couple hours during the day, and I'm so glad that I will be able to continue this in college.
And Megan, do you aspire to become a professional dancer?
I wish, but I feel that I really love teaching more than anything else. I love being able to interact with younger students and like have them get their light bulb moments, and being able to spread my love and information and everything that I have for dance to younger students.
Martha Van, final thoughts?
Oh, final thoughts. Well, first, can I just say Megan is my absolute favorite right now, because she's a senior and I just feel for all the seniors right now. And, you know, especially because that's what she wants to go do for a living as well. So I feel truly, you know, grateful for her, and she truly is a leader in this school. I mean, I can't say enough good things about Megan. She's super smart, super talented, and she's going to make a really good teacher and a really good studio owner and director one day. So watch out, world, because here she comes. You know, when it comes to my teachers, you know, I don't do this alone. I mean, if you know, it's great to be the leader, but, you know, if you don't have a good team behind you to do it exactly the same way you would do it if you were there, it doesn't really, it won't go over well. It won't go over as you would like it to. And so for all my teachers, Marissa's been with me the longest, but I have teachers who are 65, 70 years old working for me. I've got teachers that are young like her. I've got teachers that are international in nature, coming from different countries. For all of them, we all approach it as a team. And consequently, our students know that no matter who may have to sub in for their class or whatever, that they know they're getting a good class and getting the same curriculum. And that they will be, cared for as if I was standing there with them. So, for all of those teachers, I just wanted to, to really reach out and say thank you to my whole team. I just couldn't have done it without them. And then finally, for the arts in general, I would just say, the arts have always been the place that, can touch you in your, it can be a heart-to-heart experience. So it doesn't matter whether it's music or drawing or dance. And for me, we just really feel very much like, dance is what we do, what we've done forever, and we just want to share that with people, and we want to share it with the community. And we felt like that during this kind of trying time, that this is something that's gonna make you smile. You can have the worst day in the whole world and put on your favorite song and have a crazy dance party in your kitchen, and it actually makes your day really nice. And we just want to reach out to people to do exactly that. So my mission is to do for the community what I do for my students, and and just hope that we can continue on as we plod through this. And I think that I think we're doing pretty good. We're doing pretty good considering that none of us really knew how this was going to go. We're doing pretty good. So we're quite grateful to the community for supporting us. We love our kids, they love us, and we just want to just continue on. Yes, I don't know.
Well, I want to commend you for taking this, just jumping in the water with, both feet, so to speak, and embracing the technology, providing these virtual learning experiences for your students. It goes without saying that, the emotional and social well-being and health of our young people today, we're finding that technology is perhaps that piece of glue that helps hold that community together during as we ride out this pandemic. I was intrigued by the fact that you're one of the very few ballet theater schools that have embraced this use of virtual learning as quickly as you have. I have two granddaughters, ages 2 and 6, who both take ballet. They're in a Midwestern city, and I was on the phone with my daughter the other day telling her about this interview that we're getting ready to do, and she says, I've got to make sure that I get our ballet theater company to embrace Zoom and do these virtual lessons as well. So I want to thank you on behalf of my family and showing the way, so to speak.
Yeah, well, I appreciate the kind words. Thank you. We just sort of did what we did. We just sort of do what we do together, and and hopefully we can help others learn how to do this. We can be the leader in the community that the more the merrier in my mind. The more dance schools that you have, the more good teachers you have, the better the art form itself is. So, I'm happy to help, grateful to have the opportunity to lead, and looking forward to some happier days together, and a new way to make the arts available to everyone.
Well, let's make sure we stay in touch, because I have a feeling that if you're not going to do a performance in a parking lot somewhere, practicing social distance, I want to believe that you're probably going to do a performance using Zoom in some form or fashion. So
somehow we will get those kids on a stage.
Absolutely.
A stage or a screen.
Stage or a screen. Excellent. So without further ado, thank you all so much for taking time out with us today to share your story, to share your experience, and to share your inspiration for those who are at home and will hopefully take this message and put it to good use for themselves.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much.